Hey everybody, it's Flyin Ryan here with a review of the 4K action camera from Yi Technology. Now the first Yi camera was really popular, and then this is their new version now with 4K, and this is a GoPro killer basically. Now I'm no camera expert. I don't really know, what really to get into. But since these sports cameras are so common to be used with quadcopters and different RC uses, and I'm just a huge fan of this camera, I thought it would be appropriate to review on my channel. But just I really like it. It's just a really nice camera. First, it's just super sleek looking, but we've got an LCD display built into it. It has Wi-Fi. It has, like I said, 4K, 12 megapixel pictures. It does slow-mo and time-lapse right on the camera itself, so you don't have to, use some other software to do it. The app to control it is really nice and intuitive and totally functional. Um, let's see, what else was I gonna say? Oh, and the with the it's got a touchscreen LCD, and all the interface on the touchscreen is really intuitive and everything. So it's just been a real joy to use this. I'm just really a big fan of it, and the video quality is great. I mean, as far as the technical details go, which I don't really understand or know, but they are actually better than the GoPro 4. It does have a better sensor, a newer sensor, and then it's cheaper as well, and you've got, LCD built onto it, which I don't believe the GoPro comes with. You've got to pay extra for that and everything. But it is bigger than a GoPro. It's wider than the GoPro, so it doesn't fit in a lot of the GoPro mounts, and like the quadcopter gimbals I have, it doesn't quite fit in. It's a little too wide for them. This way, it's nice and thin this way, but it's like too long to fit in a lot of the existing mounts. So that's a little unfortunate. And it also doesn't really come with anything. It comes with this USB charging cable here, which then you can also connect to the computer to download your files and stuff. And it comes with a battery, but no micro SD card, no attachments at all, no accessories or mounts or anything. So I've gotten a couple here separately. It has this protection set, which is like a leather kind of a case for it, and a little lens protector filter thing here. So that'd be good for carrying it around and keeping it protected from scratches and stuff. And then we've also have the waterproof case here, which is pretty standard for these sports cameras. So you can use that to go underwater, or you can just use it to mount on things and have a nice protective case on it. I've also got this like a frame case here, which it just kind of goes around the outside of the camera, so you still have full audio and access to the touchscreen, which is something to note with the waterproof case. You can't use the touchscreen, though I think they're coming out with one where you can actually use the touchscreen through the plastic of the waterproof case, but not with this one. But this one, leaves it completely accessible to use. And then I've got, this is just a generic. This isn't from Yi Technology, but this is just a generic mount I got, so I can suction cup it to my window of my car and have like a car camera, have it pointing out the window. And then something else I got here, which again, this is just a generic item. This isn't from Yi Technology, but this is a time-lapse panner basically. So you rotate it and then it slowly moves, and so you mount the camera on that, and as your time-lapse goes, the camera rotates, so your time-lapse has a pan through it, which I think just gives a really awesome effect. It's really cool, and a lot of people like time-lapse is the new cool, man. Everybody has like just the coolest time-lapse videos, and this thing's really good at that. You can set your ISP and or not ISP, what is it? Your ISO. Sorry, like I said, I'm no camera expert. But yeah, you can set your settings for that, so you can get long exposure, so you get like blurred lights and stuff if you're doing it at night, and just really cool. And you can do that all right in the camera, so the final video you get from it is ready to go. You don't have to go put it through any other software. So I thought that was really cool, and that panning time-lapse effect is just really awesome. So yeah, I'll show an example of the time lapse right now. Actually, I'll go ahead and do it over while I talk about it. I filmed it at work, and this is a little food truck that we have that comes by and serves us lunch. And you can see in the sky the clouds moving by, and just as it pans through, it's just such a neat effect. Just really like that. But yeah, hopefully that video is done now. I just kind of guesstimated how long that was. Um, so yeah, and then it also has slow-mo in it. So it does 240 frame per second, 720p slow-mo. So pretty nice slow-mo. I mean, it's not super, super slow-mo, but usually slow-mo is like 120 frames, you know, right through the camera. So 240 frames is pretty good. It's the best slow-mo I've seen, you know, right out of a little camera like this. And then that's in 720p too, so it's pretty nice, high quality slow-mo. So again, I'll do. I haven't recorded it yet, but I'll come up with something and we'll show that right now as a little slow-mo sample. So I'll just shut up and let that run. All right, so yeah, that's pretty cool. You can do that right in the camera. You don't have to go put it through an editor or anything. And it has a bunch of different settings. There's, you know, 1080p, 4K, 2K. Um, you can change frame rates. I think 1080p goes up to 60 frames a second. 4K is just 30 frames a second. It has an ultra mode, which I guess is like GoPro's super view. So the lens captures in a 4:3 aspect ratio, so it's kind of a square, and then when you get widescreen, it basically cuts into what the entire lens actually captures. So this super view takes that entire picture and then stretches it out to widescreen. So the edges are actually stretched a little bit, but now you get the entire field of view that the sensor is able to capture. So it gives you a little bit bigger picture, however, then it gets a little distorted on the sides. So that's what the ultra mode is, if you notice that in the settings. Um, let's see. So yeah, I guess I can go ahead and turn it on and show the display here. So you can just swipe through it. Camera busy. Yeah, there we go. You can just swipe to change between photo, time lapse. Oh, right, no, that's just, yeah, you switch between photo and video, and so I've got my video set to time lapse. So if I press here now, I can pick the different, you know, if I want slow-mo or time lapse or just regular video. So now when I switch between its photo and video, and then when I'm in my video, let's say I pick time lapse, now I can go over here, and then that's going to be all my settings for the time lapse. So I can set, you know, how long I want between each picture that's taken. So you can have really long lengths in between. You can pick the resolution, so it does do 4K time lapse, so really high quality. You can set the video length if you want. So yeah, really, really nice, easy to use, intuitive interface here. And then I think, how do I get, oh yeah, so when you're in here, if you go to this button, that's your camera wide settings. So then you've got all your settings for the camera itself. And then when you're in normal video, here's where you can pick all your different resolutions. So I can go through. So there's that 4K Ultra I was talking about, whereas that's just your normal 4K. This Ultra mode's kind of stretched out. We've got 1080p at 60 frames a second. There's our 720 at 240 frames a second. And then 480 at 240 as well. And it does have electronic image stabilization, so it's kind of like an inbuilt gyro, but instead of it actually being a hardware that moves a lens, it basically crops into the picture and then just uses software to move within that frame to keep your picture steady. So it can't do that on 4K, but it can on 1080p. So when you put it on, yeah, let's see, I got 1080p, so once I'm in 1080p, I can actually do, yeah, you can do 120 frames at 1080p. But I feel like you had to have it on 60 frames for it to do, let's see, where is that setting? There's a setting in here somewhere for the electronic image stabilization. I'm trying to remember if that's in the camera mode or in the settings for the mode itself or for the camera. Man, I'm not seeing it. Maybe, do I have to be in 30 frames a second? Yeah, okay, there we go. So you've got to be in 30 frames a second 1080p, and then it's in the settings for the mode, not the camera itself. So once I'm in 1080p 30 frames a second, you can change your field of view if you want, so you don't have to have the widescreen fisheye if you don't want. We'll go back to wide. But so now when I move down, we've got all our different settings there. And then here's our electronic image stabilization. So if I turn that on, now the screen kind of, see, I can kind of shake it around and the picture stays somewhat steady in there, even though I'm kind of shaking the camera a little bit. So it's now cropped into the picture a little bit, so I'm not seeing as much as I would if that mode was turned off. But now, you know, if I'm kind of walking around or handheld, it's going to smooth that out a little bit, and it can move the frame around within that picture to keep it nice and stable. But I found that you know, it creates a little bit of weird artifacts when you do that. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not as good as like an actual like hardware gimbal that's gonna, you know, actually move the camera with motors and stuff. But it is a nice feature to have. But again, that only works in certain settings. You can't use it in every single, you know, different, you know, resolution. And I think that's about it. If you swipe down, you get some settings here for like turning it off or locking it or turning the Wi-Fi on and off. So when you turn Wi-Fi on, and then you can go on your phone, you connect to the Wi-Fi network coming from the camera, and then you can launch the app, which I won't get into showing the app. I mean, it's pretty straightforward and super easy to use, but you can change, you know, all those settings I was showing you on the screen. You can change all of those in the app. And then you know, it's going to show you what it's recording, so you can actually, you know, kind of line up your picture. If you're not right next to the camera, if you're off in a distance, you can make sure that your angle is right, and then you can start and stop recording from the app and everything. And so, you know, really nice, easy to use app, again, like I said. And then it actually has like some social features, so you can like share to Facebook from it, or they have their own like social site, so you can go into this like social tab and see pictures and videos shared by other users. So that's pretty cool. Let's kind of go through my notes here, see if there's anything I missed. No, that looks like that covers everything. So yeah, I already showed the time-lapse and slow-mo in the frame here, but I'll go ahead and do just a normal 4K or 1080. I think maybe I'll do a little bit of both, because 4K I can't really show off 4K because I don't upload in 4K, and with all the other, like this video I'm shooting right now is 1080p, so I can't export 4K. So I'll just show a 1080 video, and then maybe we'll do it with image stabilization on as well to test what that looks like. So I'll go into some video samples right now. So let's go check that out.
So there were two different locations. One was sort of through for Flyin Ryan area where they were really flying through the crane machine. That was and another one up in the canyon. I don't even know how people get up there. It's like a straight rock face, like not even possible. Yeah. But a lot of like, have you flown some interesting locations?
No, not
Ting, ting, ting. Yeah, well, let's do some.
And why it's like that is the cataract.
That little guy went pretty good.
It does. Yeah. So I built this.
Yeah, there you live in.
What's up, Brian?
What's up?
You gonna try FPV yet?
Nope.